I know I'm a couple days late, but it is time that I weigh in into this Life of a Showgirl discourse. I'm ready. So I think that Taylor Swift's latest album, Life of a Showgirl, is a case study in in narcissism and a total collapse of empathy. I'm gonna break this down into three central themes. Okay, I took some time to look at this record, and I actually am pissed that I had to spend as much time as I did with it. But anyway, first, male dependency, absence of self identity, and narcissistic mirroring. Two, perpetual victimhood, pathological self-involvement resulting in a total lack of empathy. And three, rationalization, awareness, and indulgence in casual cruelty, which all builds into what I would describe as the moral nadir of her career, this nasty ass actually romantic song. So let's fucking go. Let's start off with the narcissistic mirroring and the loss of self-identity, and having your identity totally based on the men that she dates. Okay, so first of all, she opens this up with Fate of Ophelia, and we might as well start right there. She's talking about the whole theme of the whole song is how she's being saved from drowning, from breaking up with a man by another man, and there is no sort of personal agency. And also, she, by the way, is flattening the Ophelia character massively and missing kind of the point of the whole play, which betrays a level of illiteracy that becomes even more apparent on Actually Romantic, but we will get there. But I think something that people need to understand is that her identity shifts based on the men that she dates. Joe Alwyn is obviously I don't know these fucking people, obviously, but he strikes me as a very like intellectual, deep, emotionally complex man. And as a result, while he was her muse, her lyrics were some of the most emotionally complex, deep-rooted, reflective of her entire career. I mean, it's during her time with Joe Alwyn that we got Peace, we got it was the dissolution of their relationship that produced You're on Your Own, Kid. It was, we're talking like Hoax, we're talking Evermore, some of her absolute career heights. But now that she's with this brain damaged CTE victim, and I agree with the whole point that everybody's making, saying that she's got sexually transmitted CTE. But the point is, the reason why this is happening is because this girl don't know who the fuck she is. She has no idea who she is, and she only has her identity based on the men that she is dating, okay? I also want to comment on the song Opalite because I happen to be a crystal girly. Okay, I'm wearing crystals to prove it. Okay, it is very funny to me that she's talking about a room trading onyx nights for opalite. You know, onyx. What does onyx represent? Protection, grounding, safety. And what does opalite represent? I don't know. Nothing. Because it's fake. It's fake. It's not a real stone. It doesn't have any power because it's man-made and synthesized. So she is literally consciously trading something real and grounded and perhaps more difficult to handle for something fake and vapid and empty, because that is, at the end of the day, who she is deep down. Yeah. I found the song Eldest Daughter to be profoundly disappointing because the promise of that song is something like deep and poetic. I thought we were going to get another You're on Your Own, Kid, but instead we got this like cringe, millennial slang laden, like trash ass, low-key microaggressive, nonsensical, self-indulgent babble about how she's never gonna break that now. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous and it's pathetic. And it's shockingly banal compared to what the work that we're used to. But at the end of the day, I don't think that the depth that she was displaying on Folklore and Evermore was really hers. I think it was borrowed from Joe. And I know that's gonna really piss some people off, saying I'm attributing all of her hard work to a man. Nah, but he's her muse, girl. She's a mirror. She's just reflecting what she's around. And that's that. Next, let's talk about the self-involvement and perpetual victimhood that is on display on this record. Let's start off with the casual materialism, okay? We are living in an incredibly fraught time. People don't know where they're going to get their next paycheck from. People are wondering about food, wondering about their needs. There's incredible like political violence going on, instability going on everywhere. But yet in this moment, Taylor Swift is choosing to flex her wealth and lean into what I would describe as like trad wife values, talking about, oh, I want to have a whole block looking like you, and like talking about like trade Cartier for trust, just kidding. Like really, it's like, it's so like disconnected from this social moment, and it just shows how little this woman is able to look past herself. I think that that sense of perpetual victimhood is perpetuated by that song Canceled, where, and it just shows me, to me, because the thing is, the whole song is like, good thing I like my friends canceled, they have the same scars, whatever it is that she says. It means that, it tells me something. This girl is in an echo chamber. She's an echo chamber of women who see themselves as victims, who are unable to take accountability for their actions, and who are constantly telling each other that the world is against them, despite the fact that they have immense wealth and power that gives them superior, like, power and over people who are less fortunate than they are, okay? And there is no responsibility with that at all. I think this is also reinforced by the themes in Honey, which she talks about, like, how honey was once an insult, but now is like some form of like male validation. Again, that shows a lack of self-respect and like a lack of boundaries around that. It's not that I'm like against people falling in love and writing music about love, but there is a certain erasure of self-identity that I see throughout. But the only identity that she really has is a victim, which she talks about in the song. She's always the wrong woman. She's always a victimized person. And that cycle of feeling yourself as a victim is what peaks in the cruelty that we see next. I'm not gonna lie, actually romantic, to me, to be honest, for me, is the absolute moral nadir of her career, okay? Like, it's actually wild. I want to lighten it up a little bit by showing you guys a real-time photo of myself listening to the song for the first time. I was disgusted. I was sick, okay? But all jokes aside, Charli XCX's Sympathy is a Knife is not a diss track against Taylor Swift. It is a meditation and an incredibly vulnerable song about feelings of jealousy, comparison, shame, and self-loathing, culminating in SI that she shared as a moment of vulnerability where a lot of women felt very much seen in that track. But because this woman is totally unable to decenter herself in a narrative, she saw what the message of Sympathy is a Knife is as an insult, which is really, really, really indicative of how little empathy she has as a human being. She's totally unable to see past her own victimization, like this idea of her being a victim, and is casting herself as the bullied victim of a quote unquote cool girl, even though Taylor Swift is literally the most powerful pop star on the planet. And Charli just got into a place in her life where she was getting the recognition that she has long deserved. She totally ignores the power imbalance and acts completely irresponsibly. And it is actually one of the worst things, by far, that I've noticed. And it really confirms some of the worst feelings and thoughts I've had about Taylor Swift, because as someone who's been like somewhat, what I would describe as a casual fan of hers for the past maybe 20 years or so, okay? And that leads me into my next major point, which is this indulgence in cruelty and the once preyed upon becoming the predator. I found that song, Father Figure, to be incredibly sinister. I'm honest, because it reminds me a lot of Last Great American Dynasty. In case people are wondering, like, is this the same girl who wrote Folklore? It definitely is. It definitely is, because she uses the same storytelling motif that she did in Last Great American Dynasty, where first she's talking about being preyed upon by Scott Borchetta as a young girl and being used and exploited by the industry. But then after it, she talks about how she, defeats him and he's sleeping with the fishes. And there's a certain joy in in his total destruction. But then it moves into what I really perceive to be maybe her trying to sun Olivia Rodrigo, or a veiled threat against Sabrina Carpenter. Like, if you ever dare go against me, you're going to end up sleeping with the fishes like that guy did. That's what I saw it as. I mean, seriously. So the abused has now become the abuser, and the cycle of trauma continues. And I want to say, I really think that Sabrina should be careful with her, honestly, because at the end of the day, on that nasty-ass flop song, Wood, she is attempting to reheat Sabrina's nachos and steal her, witty, tongue-in-cheek eroticism, and she's doing it completely unsuccessfully. And I just want to tell you, historically, women who have something that Taylor Swift wants but cannot have usually do not fare well with her. I'm just going to be honest with you. I would say, for instance, Katy Perry, she was very jealous of her career and also very jealous of her relationship with John Mayer. Olivia Rodrigo, I think she's jealous of the fact that she's like the only person who really does have the talent to really compete with her. And I think Sabrina Carpenter should watch out. But the thing is, I think that Sabrina's pretty smart, you know? But to me, this also circles back to the point of why she took the hit at Charli XCX. I really think that the hit that she took at Charli XCX is rooted in deep jealousy of the fact that Maddie Healy chose one of Charli's best friends, Gabriette, who is the same kind of brand of cool girl, edgy girl, over Taylor Swift herself. And I think that she has an extreme level of bitterness. And I think that the nastiness and venom that she directed at Charli in that song is actually displaced rage at Gabriette, because Maddie chose her, and this girl's incredibly male-centered. So I really think that that's what this was all about. And it's gross. It's gross, truly. I feel like this album showed me that she is the worst version of herself that I could ever have thought that she was. And it's really, really, really sad to see. So, in conclusion, the life of a showgirl is reflective of what I would describe of the revealing of a three-step moral collapse: disillusion, deflection, and domination. Disillusion of her self-identity, because she totally loses herself in men and she isn't really a person. She's just a narcissistic mirror. That's all she is. Any sort of sense of who she is a reflection of the people who she's surrounded by, which is why this album is such a departure from the person who we knew her to be on Folklore and Evermore. Deflection, because she is constantly sees herself as like this eternal victim, and because she's always a victim in her mind, it rationalizes what the next thing, which is domination, her predatory and casually cruel behavior. It's like she hasn't evolved. In fact, she's actually calcified into something much worse and much, much more sinister. And I actually think that that's why so many people are talking about this album, because it is one of the greatest mass slips I have ever seen in public in a very long time. Very, very much a mass slip. And to be honest, I think that this is the beginning of the end. I'm just going to be honest. You know, I made that cancellation series and she did that redemption thing. But sometimes, like, girl, a tiger never changes its stripes, girl. A tiger never changes its stripes. This is the same girl who got canceled back in 2016. I can see why the algorithm is pushing that story that I was telling y'all once again, even though I made that video like 2 weeks ago. But anyway, she's made a decision to choose to be the absolute worst version of herself, and she was proud enough of that and unashamed enough of that to put that on the album. That's who she wants us to know her to be, and I think that we should believe her. If someone shows you who they are, believe them. And that's what I gotta say about this foul ass nasty album. Bye bye.